Kakio kitatum skata noal. Greetings to you all. Welcome to another edition of meskanâs, kâpimâcimohk. I'm here with my beautiful friend Michell Ranger. We're here in Calgary, and we're just about to take a walk here, and Michelle's got a pretty good tour for us, I think. So we'll get started. I'll put this thing on.
Sounds good.
Okay, so Michelle, thanks for taking the time to join me here.
Well, thanks for asking me. I hope it's worth the effort.
Oh, I think so. So, if you can, tell the folks who you are. Give us a little bit of a bio.
Yeah, sounds good. I thought maybe even before that, Dwayne, I'd like to maybe I have a little bit of homegrown tobacco here, and it's a special day today. Not only, of course, being here with you, and so grateful for this opportunity, and so grateful, Dwayne, for all you do for us as a community and for education. But it is Treaty 7 Day, September 22nd, and it's the 147th anniversary of Treaty 7, signed in 1877. So it's what a special opportunity to be here with you today.
Nice.
And I thought maybe you and I could offer a little tobacco, because we both, I know, are really grateful of our Treaty 7 relations and everything that the people on the land have brought us in our lives. So I thought maybe we'd be able to start that way.
Ah, thank you.
If I can open this. There we go.
There you go.
I started making tobacco a few years ago, and pretty cool Genesis seed story as well. So some good pure stuff here.
Okay, let's do that.
Sun came out this morning.
Yeah, when we came into town it was pretty cloudy, but it's cleared up nicely. Beautiful day here in Calgary.
It is. It's also the first day of fall equinox, of course. And I know, on days like this, I like to take time and honor some of the teachings that my elders have taught around honoring what's important on these special days. And for today, it's really the teaching of balance of grandfather sun and grandmother moon, and looking at the trees, the leaves as they turn close to the moon. And Dr. Skokoto always tells us model, look to the land. What is it teaching you at that time? So another significance of this good day. So Oki, Nitaniko Mishtaki Biksaki. My name is Michelle. My married name is Ranger. My family is LaValle, Bruce, Ducharme, generations of Métis from Saint Laurent, Manitoba. I was given the name Mishtaki Biksaki, mountain bird woman, from Elder Abba Maka, Elder Leonard Bastine, in ceremony a few years ago. And it's a special name. It means a lot. He told 4 stories, and the meaning behind the story, the last story that he shared was he lost something and he was walking out in the mountains, and it was a bird that led him to what he found. And so the meaning of my name, shared at that time, is the one you go to for help. So yeah, and I chose to walk in this area. I know could have had maybe more beautiful landscapes to walk through, but this is really who I am, and it's a part of my story. And so on this walk, I hope that we can can go through and stop at a few places and share a few stories of my life and how I came to be and who I am in my work, and share some of the highlights of that work over time through our afternoon here together. So I grew up here. My family moved from a French Métis community here for work, and I love this place. It was, I guess, your typical Indigenous urban upbringing, meaning there was a lot of challenges, some crisis, definitely some harms in our story.
Right.
Yeah, and over time I've learned that one of the values I try to embrace when things get difficult is that people always just do the best that they can with the work resources that they have at the time, and so I don't hang on to that. I was able to let it go and leave space for good things in my life, despite a challenging upbringing. At the same time, my family is really what shaped me who I am.
Yeah.
And the first teachers of that kinship of a relationship, like despite everything that we've gone through, we loved each other no matter what. There was always that strong foundation of loyalty and of love, and when you peel back some of those layers of that pride in who we are as Métis people. And so it took me a long time actually to be able to talk about my upbringing, several years, and I was inspired by a couple of friends. I was inspired by Jeff Horvath and Tim Fox, friends who I witnessed them be able to tell their stories, and it was Jeff Horvath who had shared with me that residential schools and those harmful colonial practices and institutions hurt his parents, but his parents hurt him. It really resonated that with me, and again shaped kind of who I am and what I do in the work today. So growing up, going back to that, missed a lot of school, went to more schools than I could count. Don't ever really recall, I think, anyone looking out for me in school or making that kind of connection, but I think, looking back, I'm grateful because it protected me from all of that.
This was all in Calgary?
Yeah, this was all in Calgary. Yeah, Calgary. So at one point, my siblings and I were spread across 3 provinces. It was, difficult to be apart, but despite it all, we always knew we had each other's backs. We always knew that we're always there for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, look, both my parents didn't graduate high school. My dad got kicked out in grade 8 after fighting too much, and he's in his 80s now and he's still a fighter. And my mom was asked to leave high school to take care of her 10 brothers and sisters, her siblings, and so they didn't attend residential school, but they attended Catholic day school, and my dad went to school in inner city Winnipeg.
Oh yeah.
And right in the downtown core there. So it wasn't easy, and so those were the existing relationships with education in school when I grew up. And I think anyone who knows me from high school would be shocked at what I do. Yeah, they would be absolutely shocked.
Well, I just want to say, I really appreciate this choice of location And I'm an urban person as well. I was raised in Edmonton, and sometimes like with walks like this, I sort of imagine people taking me to some kind of place beside the river, nice and quiet or whatever. But I mean, these places are important to honor as well. And just with myself, like a lot of people, you struggle with identity. And as I got older, I often got that question, where are you from? And whenever I said Edmonton, it seemed like people weren't satisfied with that answer. Like I was supposed to be from somewhere else if I was going to be a real Indigenous person, right? And over the years, of course, I've learned that my roots are quite deep in that place now called Edmonton. So yeah, I try to honor that place as much as I can. So I'm glad we're here today.
Yeah, it took me a long time to even be able to visit that space that we started at. We called that the Big Hill. And so, my siblings and I and my extended family, because we all lived together, that was our escape. That was our scenic lookout point. That's where we'd go and play. So it is a meaningful and important spot to us. And it will be for sure.
Yeah.
And it's important to visit those places too that mean a lot to us. And so I wanted to take a few stops, and one of them here is a large high school that we work closely with now in my role. So I'm currently assistant principal, Indigenous Education in a large urban school district, and in this dynamic building. So we're in a lower socioeconomic area of the city. You might be able to hear the siren there in the background. But there's just so much strength in the diversity of this place. And this high school is one that we work very closely with. And within those walls, we've built together a space called a learning lodge. And so that learning lodge is for not only Indigenous students, but for all students, to be able to, through their high school journey, have a safe place. And it's a place where they can build connection and find community. It's a space where they not only get the academic supports as for their courses or tutoring, but we offer Indigenous land-based learning opportunities here. We offer cultural learning opportunities, ceremony, and it's pretty incredible. I think about what a space like that meant to me growing up all those years ago around this area.
You went to this school?
I didn't go to this school, no, but yeah, I do work closely with that school.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's some really amazing things happening there. In fact, in this whole route that we're walking, I'll send it to you after. The school district and the schools here that we're walking through did a partnership with Urban Society Aboriginal Youth.
Okay.
And there's a GPS app that walks through similar with student artwork, student stories, speaking to the 5 R's, renewal, relationship, responsibility, through this whole place.
Takes you on a tour.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So kind of like going back to my story, got through high school. I don't know how. I think it was that last semester. A good friend and I thought, we better straighten out. Like, do we want to come back here? What are we going to do with our lives? And so we pulled something together enough to be able to go into university. And I think one of the life-altering decisions for me that made a big difference was going to Saskatchewan Urban Native Teacher Education Program. So, I don't know about you, Dwayne. Like, did you grow up smudging?
No.
Yeah, I didn't either. I think, the pride in our ways was there, but I think just the shame was too heavy for my parents and my family to be able to practice a lot of that. But through SUNTEP, this is through University of Saskatchewan, we were able to engage in Indigenous ways of being and belonging and doing and knowing that just changed my life. Yeah, I remember the first smudge. I remember the first time learning about another foundational teaching of the medicine wheel, and literally being on the floor, just emotion. Because, you know, it spoke to who I was, it spoke to my core, and continues to be the foundation of how I live my life and how I do my work. And so my career has been, with the exception of 1 year, only in Indigenous education. And so it's been, you know, 25 years, and there's been many hard stories, and there's been a lot of, you know, challenges, and but more importantly, I think there's just been so many gifts that it has provided me so much more than I could ever give back. And being able to take some of those foundational teachings and share them with others. You know, there's opportunities in our work where we're teaching young people the value of the smudging, and they're being able to take it home to their families and return that, and that's, you know, that's more important than really many things I could be doing with my life.
Yeah. So you graduated from Suntep. What was your first job as a teacher? What grade?
Oh my goodness. My first job was at Joe Duquette High School on Broadway Ave in Saskatoon, and I was the 10 up teacher. And so 10 up was all the kids that were dropping out or trying to get back in, and I helped them just increase their skills and build their confidence and get them well to be in a place of learning, and I would have stayed there forever. In fact, I remember Principal Dwayne Favel at the time pulled me into his office as first year teacher. You know, the kids were as old, the students were as old as I was.
Right.
And he pulled me into the office and he said, Michelle, you're going to be the principal. And I looked at him because never once, Dwayne, did I even think I was going to be a teacher, you know, principal, work for a big system.
Right.
And just, you know, to hear Dwayne say that, I looked at him and I thought, no, that's not me. But I loved it there, and I would have stayed there forever, but decided to come back west here because my immediate family was here and work was here. Yeah, and one of the first jobs that I had here in Calgary Board of Education was at Métis Family School, and they're opening up a new Indigenous program, K to 6. So I was the teacher for grades 4 to 6, and my principal, Irene, was principal and taught K to 3. And we were in 2 rooms, and gosh, I look back to that time and I think, like, it was so hard. We were so misunderstood by the system. We were misunderstood by community. But there's just so much love. There was just so much love. In fact, if I see any student from that time, and it's funny, they all call me Michelle. Come and give big hugs because we had the best time together. We did. So yeah, we're making another stop here on our walk, and so we're at a middle junior high school currently in a system that I work in. And last year they worked on these beautiful murals with First Nations artist Autumn Whiteway, with the students. And so in my current role, we've been able to develop an Indigenous education framework the Indigenous Education Holistic Lifelong Learning Framework that really embodies the 4 domains of self, the 4 parts to the whole. So the first yellow would be spirit to be, and the red visual is the heart to belong, and the black background is the body to do, and the last would be the mind to know. And each of these beautiful paintings were done in collaboration with the students, and they have a deep, significant meaning behind them. We're also looking at an outdoor learning space, so we work really hard to, attempt to just indigenize and bring Indigenous ways again to inside our classrooms and outside of our classrooms. There's traditional gardens that we pass by here in the front as well. And so, yeah, just another example really of the teachings of the medicine wheel and how it's all come together in really beautiful ways.
Beautiful.
Yeah, really beautiful ways.
Spot. I see these sort of outdoor classrooms in the different schools that I go by in Edmonton on my daily stuff, and I've never seen children out, when I've gone by. I'm always kind of curious to see what it's like when the kids are out here and they're sitting. I hope it's good. I haven't witnessed it yet, but it's nice to see these additions to the repertoire.
It is good. It's becoming, I think, just a way for everyone too, not just for Indigenous students, but being able to take those good teachings and good practices and the realization that it's good learning for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Are we going to be able to get through over here?
Yeah, we're going to jump a fence.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Michelle's old shortcuts, everybody.
You still got it, Dwayne? We'll see about that. One thing I wanted to talk to you about, Dwayne, too, before I forget, was you really inspired me, and this was a few years back, to learn about, and I might say this wrong, kâpimâcimohk.
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 Mm-hmm.
So, Manitou, Asani, Buffalo Stone, Iniskum.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a couple years ago as well where I had to do a land acknowledgement for the opening for a system meeting. And so I talked about, at the time my family was moving from a home of 17 years to a new space, and I talked about just that uprooting, being picked up and transplanted somewhere different. And I told the story. And it was funny because a couple days later, Elder Abamaka, Leonard Bastine, shared with me that he's part of the committee to repatriate the Manitou stone, and so I thought that was a neat connection. So it was 2 weeks after I did that sharing that on September 30th, 2020, it was announced that the stone Asani would be returned.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and we just for the 13 Moons class, we went on a trip last month, and we visited the place where that stone was taken from. We've been there quite a few times, and it's always good to go there and tell the story and help people, see the place where it landed.
Oh, absolutely. Like, these are the stories we need to be sharing in our schools and in the curriculum.
Yep.
And if they're not, well, let's still make space for them, like we do in the schools that we're visiting. They're committed to that learning, and it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's possible. So on this little path here, maybe we talk a little bit about one of the definite highlights of my career was opening meskanâs. So that was and is a beautiful site of early intervention
Mm.
So the students start at age 2.5 and to age 8 with a focus on cultural identity, but with holistic wraparound supports. And the vision and the dream of that place was inspired by the community's hopes and dreams and their voice. And so what we were able to do was bring to life those dreams, and it really is just, you know, the most beautiful place. I know you've been there before.
Mm-hmm.
And we encourage, you know, others, hopefully they'll be able to take some time and visit that beautiful place of learning. In the second year, we did a research study with Alberta Education, and it was a lot, you know, looking back. Still a fairly new principal, and you know, had a small handful of staff, no assistant principal, which I always remind my district of.
Oh yeah.
Like, who else does that? You know, new program, new facility, but we got through, and we did a research study, and working with in partnership with Alberta Education and the University of Calgary, able to show like the amazing positive and beautiful things through a, you know, study in Indigenous education in this area and in this province. And you know, some of the stories that come out of that time, you know, being able to walk elders who you know, experienced the harms of residential school into a space that has elements of the earth, elements of the cosmos, of all the relations and gifts of this area is, you know, just something I'll be forever grateful for. And I remember in that research too that the one word that was more prevalent over and over was just happiness. You know, to be able to bring back that Indigenous joy to urban Indigenous education. And there were different scholars and visitors, hundreds that really come through P2P Learning Center in a short time. And one in particular had said, I travel the world looking to be inspired and looking to, you know, models of Indigenous education, and I found it here.
Wow.
And I know that when I walk into a space and I feel like the culture of the place, and it's somewhere I can picture my own kids going, I know it's good. So that was another definite highlight in the career for sure. And yeah, we hope to just continue now and take that love and just spread it around. So that's how I look at it in my new role. And
Spreading love.
Spreading love. It's what it is, you know, in the end. That's what it's all about.
I like it. Yep.
So our last little stop here is another unique program, high school program in our school district. And this is a pretty incredible story, Dwayne. And I need to say, like, the 3 sites that we've just briefly walked by, like, we have to give credit to the staff, like the students of those places, who just dedicate everything they have on a daily basis. And so here's another example. So you see the little grove of trees?
Yeah.
I think they're elm or ash, I'm not sure. They were sick. The trees weren't doing well, and so the students in the school, where they have another Indigenous brave space community, worked with a horticulturalist. They received a grant, and they started to study what the trees needed, so what medicine the trees needed. And so as we walk up, you'll see that each of the trees has a plaque, and on the plaque they acknowledge the Indigenous nations
Okay.
of this land.
Yeah.
Kind of like we did this morning. I thought about that this morning, Dwayne, when I woke up. I sat with my kids, had a smudge with one of them, and I asked myself, in this beautiful place, how many other people are acknowledging the gifts that the first peoples have provided them this morning.
Yeah.
I hope more and more over time, but this school does that. And so they made these beautiful cedar boxes, and they made plaques for each of the trees representing the nations. And they had knowledge keeper Hal Eagletail come and do a ceremony, and the trees got well.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
these trees look really happy.
Yeah. So they call this Reconciliation Courtyard.
Ah.
And they often have celebrations in the school community out here. You see a more formal land acknowledgement posted up for everyone to see. And I see you looking on the wall, on the building, or it must be the gym wall, but anyhow. So then the students worked with artist Calum Teekdan. So Calum is a Blackfoot artist, and he's from this area too. He grew up, like me, all around here.
Okay.
And the students were able to select what mural they wanted depicted on their school, and they chose this one of Lakota's warrior Sitting Bull. And thinking about that, I thought, the kids around here, they're warriors in their own right. They're fighting battles, today that are different than the ones that we had to fight. And so it's a beautiful piece and a beautiful reminder with the 4 teepees of the nations of this area, and another outdoor space.
Yeah, it looks like a screen there too. Do they use that as a screen to project things on?
Well, don't give them ideas. They'll come here at night, and I'm sure they do. Yeah, I'm sure they do. But it's again just taking that good medicine and sharing it with others. Who's yelling at us?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's loud, but I can't see.
There's a robin there. I don't know who this is.
Yeah.
And a beautiful little courtyard here too.
Yeah, there is outdoor gardens, exercise equipment.
Yeah.
The students are really proud of this place, and we are too.
Wow.
So we're looping up here almost to the end, Dwayne, and just want to make sure I didn't forget anything. Really, I think in terms of my work in Indigenous education, I've never done anything alone. I have a close circle, and they know who they are, and I couldn't have done anything without them in this work. And despite, it can be heavy, it can be not only mental labor, but spiritual and emotional and physical labor, and it's not 8 to 4, it's 24/7. And it can weigh on you, but really it's about just acknowledging the gifts that it brings, and keep holding on to that hope. And we know what works, like even in that research study with Indigenous education, like, Michelle, what's the answer? Like, the answer's so simple. Like, we just have to care. You have to care, and you have to work together, and you have to do the work collectively, and it's actually really not hard at all. Not at all.
So I got a question for you.
Sure.
In the role that I have as an Oscapio ceremonial helper with Bob Cardinal, I have a chance to see a lot of people who are learning for the first time some of the ancestral ways, like you mentioned, smudging. But I've never heard or witnessed somebody who fell to the ground like you described yourself doing, right? And that, obviously, that's something you're going to carry with you the rest of your life. But as you know, we're interested in colonialism, colonial worldview, and how we recover from it. And so we use that phrase unlearning, which to me is about these provocations that happen that start to sort of unravel this influence of colonialism on you. And I just wanted to give you a chance to talk about unlearning for you, like you had that, which I assume was a big moment in your life, and I'm guessing you've had quite a few more. Like, what are your own thoughts on unlearning colonialism that, might inspire other people to carry on with the work?
Well, I think it's going to be a lifelong challenge. And I, again, recognize the colonial structures that are in place that I face every single day.
Right.
I recognize the harm of colonial practices, and again, denying that relationship that's done to my family. And I think just always continually looking to find that balance. So as a Métis person, I walk in two worlds. Dwayne, I'm walking out in a place I grew up with you right now, but I'm going to be honest, I'm going to go home and probably knock off 20 emails. I can't escape that.
Yeah.
I can't escape that. And at the same time, I'm not going to quit trying to, again, seek that balance in between all areas of my life in every single way. Like this morning, I was at the gym, and I have to do that to help stay sane.
Right.
So much sitting, Dwayne. In my job, I sit there with the meetings and the emails, and I think my spirit is just getting sucked right out of me because I love to move. So I go to the gym in the morning and move, and this morning I thought, Michelle, slow down. I was just being aware, being cognizant, and seeking that. Elder Carrie Moore explained to me, I spent some time with her this summer, it was epic, up at her cabin up north, and she said, it's that relational wellness. So as a Métis person walking in two worlds, I'm constantly seeking that space where I'm living life in parallel, where between the colonial Western and in between honoring who I am as an Indigenous person, like fully Indigenous, fully Métis, in the best way that I can. And that's waking up every day in every area of my life trying to be like, who's the best person I can be? And how can I take what I've learned, because it's been just most incredible gift of my life, and share it with others.
Wow. Hi.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to try this.
kâpimâcimohk.
Oh, close. Yeah, the runner. I'm like this. I was going to challenge you to run up this hill. See if I could still beat you up there.
It was a long time ago that I got that name. It's funny.
The runner.
I've been really trying to
Here, I'll take this off.
run, get back into it, because
Oh, it's tough.
when Keisho was young, he's 26 now,